Now, what you all have been waiting for. Without further ado, our first speaker, Nistha Dube, and her take on creating purpose.
I always used to wonder if those overused cliches ever actually came in handy. You've heard them all growing up. Believe in yourself, get out of your comfort zone, take a leap of faith, and follow your dreams. Now over time, I've learned that although not appropriate in every circumstance, there is enough truth in these sayings for them to be widely suggested. I want to start off by posing a question. We're going to rewind back to our childhood days, and I want to ask you, what did you used to dress up as for career day as a child? Let's see if we can think back to that version of yourself in this very moment. For myself, that was a teacher. I would remember every career day in elementary school, getting dressed up with my blazer and coming into the classroom wanting to instruct and guide and transform. I was nearly certain that this was my purpose. Then I got to high school where career days were no longer a thing and we were all geared towards choosing one major upon entering college. This was the first time in my life where I deviated. To be honest, the image I had of a teacher was frankly quite traditional, and to be honest, I didn't see myself thriving in a classroom of 25 young ones around me. So this was the first time in my life where I deviated, and upon entering college, I decided to major in neuroscience and psychology. Now, while I did enjoy studying the behavioral sciences across my 4 years of college, I didn't necessarily see myself pursuing a career in academia or research or pre-health. And what does one with a psychology and neuroscience major do otherwise? I didn't have the answers. I looked towards my friends in business and other majors who were applying to tech companies and consulting firms, thinking that this was it, this is what I had to do, and this was my last straw. Even though deep down, it felt misaligned. The summer after my junior year of college, I interned at a nearby tech company. And I would find myself coming home from my 8-hour workdays feeling quite drained, wondering if this is simply what post-college life felt like. And soon senior year arrived and we were struck with the global pandemic. The last thing I expected to do my senior year is to be quarantined in my house trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my future. A couple days later, I received a phone call from a local tech company offering me a full-time job offer. I was close to taking the offer, everything made sense, the name would have looked great on paper, the commute was rather short. And then I heard the words that I didn't know I needed to hear on the phone call with a friend. "You just sound so unhappy," she told me over the phone. And that was the first time I took a step back and reevaluated and considered my emotions and my happiness around my future career path, something that I had totally let go of. Of course, it comes from a great deal of privilege to even be able to be in an opportunity to acknowledge this concept and this idea, but I couldn't help but wonder where that little girl from those career days in elementary school had gone, where that passion and that hope and creativity had disappeared. And that is when I knew that my time in lockdown would be one of the most transformational and valuable of my life. I spent the following weeks disconnecting from everything around me. I journaled, I meditated, I sat with my thoughts and observed my previous decisions and seeped into layers of my own conditioning. I began to challenge my own limiting beliefs and doubts and fears. All at the same time, I was attending workshops and conferences held by speakers and coaches and other people in the space that I was hoping to enter. I sat there wondering, if these speakers who I'm looking up to can do it, then why can't I? And that was when I realized the only thing separating myself from them was the lack of faith in my ability to do so, to go after what I wanted and to be successful. Now, everyone tells you to take a leap of faith, but what does that really mean? This can sound daunting or overwhelming. So many of us simply don't take the leap because it sounds too risky. So what I decided to do is to take this leap and break it up into smaller, tangible steps. I started off with one idea, and this was to start a YouTube channel and to post 2 videos a week about topics that I'm interested in, which consisted of mindset and purpose. Soon after, I started experimenting with shorter vertical form videos on TikTok and found that this was more of my groove. I even started experimenting with podcasting and found that minutes into my first episode, it was all more effortless than I ever expected it to be. Get out of your comfort zone is probably another one you've heard time and time again, but we can take this and also break it up into smaller steps. Now, of course, none of them will feel easy or natural to begin with. My first time posting on YouTube, I was terrified that people from school would stumble upon my channel. My first podcast episode, my heart was beating minutes into it, and my first time going live on Instagram, I was nauseous minutes leading up to it and was this close to canceling. However, after every step that I took out of my comfort zone, I noticed a direct, tangible benefit or breakthrough from every experience. After my first Instagram live, I had a mentor in my space reach out to me to collaborate directly with me and my brand to strategize and create brand pillars. After hosting my first workshop, I had a PM from a mental health nonprofit whose event I had attended years earlier reach out to me to collaborate over hosting a workshop together. All of this, coupled with a newfound sense of confidence that I had built within myself, made it all worth it. I saw the direct return on investment that comes with energetically exiting one's zone of comfort. I understood that it can be small and intentional and tangible. So I'm not encouraging you to drop everything immediately and make some drastic leaps towards following your dreams. But rather, I encourage you to commit to creating the baby steps that allow you to understand and witness what you are capable of. And that leads us to our next and most widely used motivational sentiment: believe in yourself. I'm sure the saying resides in some of your earliest memories. Yet, growing up, we've been faced with conditioning and limiting beliefs and judgment. We faced both internal and external doubts, family expectations, and generational cycles. For myself, there were so many times where I wanted to choose a traditional route simply because it would have been easier. And the way that I combated and challenged that fear was by asking myself questions that look like, why do I not see myself capable of pursuing freelance directly out of college? Where is that fear coming from? Where have I seen this opportunity work out for others in their favor? And what are my best and worst case scenarios? Truly, welcoming the unexpected takes a great deal of courage, because it requires trusting in your ability to navigate through a path that you may have never intended upon walking, solely upon the power of self-belief and consistency. Ultimately, I learned that when it comes to following your dreams or finding your purpose, there really is no search, frankly, because there's no destination. Rather, it is a constant co-creation by being in the present moment and being tapped into your intuition. Standing here today, I realized I never let that little girl in elementary school slip away from me. I simply reframed what it meant to be a teacher, and through my mission today, I am able to guide and teach and transform every single day. Your inner child still lives and breathes within you. It is longing for nurturing. So the next time someone tells you to believe in yourself or get out of your comfort zone or do what makes you happy, I encourage you to ask, what does that mean to you? How do those concepts become a reality in your external environment? Where are you at right now? And what would it take for you to get there? All while knowing that simply by being here in this moment, you're already on your way. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your talk. It was really comforting for you to talk about an experience that so many of us have had over these past 2 years.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here today and chat a little bit more with you.
So first off, a lot of people went through periods of questioning during quarantine, but have struggled transitioning from that place of doubt to one of growth. You shared how you started meditating and attending webinars after you experienced your period of questioning. How did you motivate yourself to take these steps, and how would you encourage others to do the same?
Yeah, so I think for myself, a lot of it really started from actual genuine curiosity. I think it's one thing to frame it in a way of thinking, oh, I have to motivate myself. If there's a push or an urge where you feel like you have to motivate yourself towards something, then I would almost invite you to question, is there genuine curiosity there? Or is there genuine interest? So for me, I was at a place where I truly was curious about what a career in speaking and social media would look like. And so for me, the meditation and listening to myself, as well as attending these webinars and workshops, they were really a way for me to balance my own thoughts, my own conditionings, really pay attention to my own limiting beliefs, as well as understand how this world works. It's very generic. It's very, it's not cookie cutter, and school doesn't prepare you for a career in social media necessarily. So I really had to do my own research and figure out, well, how do I want to navigate this industry? What are the tools that I need? And so I did that by just signing up for a ton of those free workshops, attending, taking notes, seeing what other people in my field were doing. And for me, it really was, a genuine, keen inclination towards wanting to develop a career in this area and doing whatever it would take for me to move forward with it.
Okay, so it would be silly to assume that this journey has been one of linear progress. What do you do to keep yourself moving forward and get out of slumps?
Yeah, so I think that's a really good question because I've faced a couple of them over the past year. And ultimately, I think it just comes back to the understanding that motivation in itself is fleeting. It really is fleeting. And we can't really rely on our emotions to, come forth and put out equal amounts of productivity over time. At least for myself, that's something that I've really noticed. As someone who's more of an intuitive creator, I create really based on the spur of my emotions and when creativity gets to me. So if that's not there, then what do I do? And I think that's when habit formation is really important. So for myself, it was reading books like Atomic Habits and understanding, well, it's not so much about, okay, it might take 62 days for some people to form a habit or 20 something days for other people, but really, how do I sustain that? The numbers didn't matter to me as much as really understanding what is my end goal in this entire process. And am I willing to get there? Am I willing to do whatever it takes? And I think that's one of the, sort of life tips the book offers, is to really frame it around your end goal and how you would feel experiencing this end goal. So I think that ties, very well back to a lot of what I talk about with purpose and with law of attraction. It's really an embodiment of what all of these things are. How does it feel? What does it look like? How do you show up every day? And so I think if you can anchor yourself back to that feeling, then, pushing through the mundane, almost like everyday, habits, it becomes a little bit easier. And over time, the idea is that the habits don't feel as, there's not as much of a resistance. And if there's still a lot of resistance over time, it's almost an invitation to, hey, let me reevaluate and see if other habits, or little tweaks that I can do to my daily routine might benefit me further.
That was really insightful. I'll definitely try to consider how I can implement some of that in my own life. Is there anything else that you want to share with the audience?
No, I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me. And if anyone does have any questions, more than happy, please feel free to reach out and we can definitely have a conversation. So I'd love to hear from you guys.
Okay, thank you so much, Nishta.
Thank you so much.